Welcome everyone to the Solutions Brewing Podcast. I'm Brendan. I'm joined in person by Steve Sock and Rob Kalchuk.
Hey.
We're meeting again at my lovely backyard here, which is great. And as we look over my unfinished projects from earlier in the day, we've decided to open a couple beers and have a discussion. And Steve's got a rapid fire list of a number of different topics that we're going to try to get through because this is our 100th episode.
I know.
That's right, yeah.
So, 2 years worth of friggin' episodes.
It is surprising.
Yeah.
It's not quite 2 years, but it's a good round number.
Yeah. 104 is 2 years.
Yeah, but nobody likes 104 isn't a weird, 100.
Yeah,
Huzzah!
100. It's divisible by 10 and by 5.
Oh my
But
God.
104, that's a little downplayed.
Yeah.
So, people celebrate 100, 200, 300.
And with all the weeks that we've missed, we're definitely over 2 years now. You have to be.
I think we've only missed 1 or 2 weeks of release.
No, we missed one this year, and we usually don't do any around Christmas time.
Yeah, we usually we take a Christmas break, so yeah, I think we're...
Oh, I just assume you guys are working hard while I fuck off.
No.
Sometimes we do work hard, and then sometimes we're like,
Yes,
nah,
but
let's
not
pull a Brendan.
We work hard, just not on podcasts.
All right, well, what do we got to talk about today?
All right, I got a couple...
Topic number one.
Yeah, well, topic number one is that apparently the Japanese have come up with the perfect beer can design.
And I assume it's the same as our current beer can design.
No,
doubt it.
it has one big difference, which you guys will have to figure out. Two,
It has a hole for shotguns.
not quite.
Yeah, just
Also,
a second tab.
Also, they came up with they also came up with that a couple years ago. Remember those cold shots back in the day?
Yeah.
The second topic
It'd
is
be nice not to have to try to stab yourself with a key.
or a stiletto. The last time I did it.
Especially because you're usually doing it when you're several drinks in.
The second one is what you guys think about the future of printed beer.
Are we
Printed beer.
past the first topic
You
already?
can't,
No, I'm just listing the topics. And the third, because we started with drinking a hazy IPA here.
Are there 100 topics?
Well,
No.
no.
Okay.
I hope not. That's too many topics.
We'll be here until the wee hours in the morning, and some of us have to work
It's still
tomorrow.
light out.
And the third one is hops in hazy IPAs. Can you guys list the most common ones that are in many of the drinks that we have
I
today?
assume you're
Why don't
going
we
to drink
start with
one
that
and
one?
say
How many hops are there? 9? The list is 9, right? I've kind of seen the list, so I've
It's not 9 actually.
it is 9.
It's more than.
It's more than 9.
It's more than 9.
Okay, well,
But anyways, let's start with at the top there. So Japanese researchers have come up with the most perfect beer can design. What is the major difference that makes it better?
I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I have no idea what the perfect can is.
Okay. Brendan, do you have any ideas what would make the perfect can much superior than our own cans?
It's skinnier and taller.
No. That is a good guess. That is a good guess. It is related to foam, actually. Because I learned this in looking in this, is that with us, when you pour a beer, you get a nice, decent amount of head on there, but you don't want too much head or anything like that.
Yes.
In Japan, they like to have, a couple inches of foam on top, at least a lot more than we usually do.
The Czechs are
well,
like that too.
And the Europeans as well. They actually, there's a theory that a certain amount of head helps retain carbonation within the beer itself.
And that's why. So it basically protects the beer while you're drinking it, and it might take a little time and all that. So the feature...
Sounds like they just drink beer too slow.
Maybe that too. But the main innovation that they came up with, you actually already said it, was a second tab.
A second tab.
On the top. So you do the first tab to basically release pressure and start the CO2 coming out of the beer and going into the foam, and then it allowing you to then pour the beer into the glass and have a good chunk of that foam also follow in from the top of the can and make the the perfect foam head and insulated beer for your drinking pleasure.
I would have to try this can to determine whether or not it's quote unquote the perfect design.
I feel like the hassle of popping a second tab on a can is more than I'm willing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my thought when I was doing it.
Because if you just want foam, you could just hard pour the beer into your glass.
Exactly. There's other methods of doing that.
You look at what Guinness has done and other beers like this where they have the widgets inside and all that sort of stuff.
Uh-oh. We're recording outside, and we just heard some thunder, so this might get interesting.
We might get a lightning delay here, which we had at the Stamps game earlier today. But hopefully not.
But so that's they only have a mock-up because it was actually not a company; it was a bunch of researchers came up with it. So of course it was an article, and that you couldn't. So they had an AI generated mock-up of it, and it's like, oh, okay then. So
I don't know about that.
They don't have a physical test prototype yet.
It was only in the lab.
Oh my word!
It's not even a real can.
Yeah, they can't claim this.
I think we're gonna get dumped on here.
Yep. All right.
Please stand by. We'll resume shortly. And we're back.
That's fine. It's all good.
We were trying to make Rob's life difficult as much as the editing. So, Steve, tell us about your new table.
Oh yeah, well the new table it's much smaller than the used one. It doesn't have a leaf anymore, which is one thing, but also it fits the high chair that we got a new high chair and it didn't fit with the old table and everything because we literally could not fit the child without putting him sideways, so we had to get a new table to fit our space, and just the space we've reclaimed is amazing.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Now, what were we talking about before the Thundershine?
Well, we were about to go into our second topic, which was would you drink a printed beer?
Oh yes.
What is a printed beer?
What is a printed beer?
This is out of a startup out of all places, Belgium, named Bar.on. Baron, I don't know how. Anyway, Baron. But what it is, it's basically the Keurig of beers. So what it is that you basically have the system on your counter.
I feel like there's a larger amount of time required to make a beer than a coffee.
Minutes. That's apparently all it'll take.
See, I feel like I would agree with that for a coffee. But I know a beer is on the order of weeks.
Maybe they're combining this with that powdered beer. So it's actually just non-alcoholic.
That would be interesting. I would appreciate that. That would be a good extension of that concept.
Which is called the One Tap, can produce a variety of beer styles such as blonde, brown, IPA, and tripel, as well as high, low, and even non-alcoholic beer. And how it works,
the non-alcoholic side of it, I agree
with. It's cartridges. So you basically put these cartridges into the machine, and then it takes various, ratios. It takes a recipe and, a couple drops of this, a little bit of this, all that kind of stuff. Mixes with water, carbonates it, and basically you have a beer ready to go at the end of the process.
Well, that means it's already been brewed.
Well, it's been brewed and distilled down to its base components, because apparently they can adjust the bitterness, or they can adjust the.
So is this something where you have to brew yourself a pale ale or a very light blonde?
No, this sounds like the beer's already made.
These are a number of additives that can be added afterwards?
No.
No, it's so these are literally the cartridges. So it's like little, almost syringe-like things you
they're
put
basically
into the
doing a full brew.
There's nothing in here for scale, so I assume these are kegs.
They come in a decorative cardboard box. Of course, they're small.
Kegs can fit in a decorative cardboard box.
They look like giant syringes.
Yeah.
They do look like
but
syringes.
you put it in, and it just takes this, puts it in, mixes it with water, and then carbonates it, and then serves it, so it's ready in a couple minutes. But the interesting thing is apparently they're also mixing alcohol, or there's that component.
Well, there's got to be alcohol in the syringe, otherwise there's no way you can get an instant beer. That's impossible.
But how do you where are you getting your alcohol? Are you producing pure ethanol and then trying to imbue it into the beverage?
And that thing it does not say.
Well, it says they're raising Series A shares, so they're obviously serious about it.
And there's a working prototype, so. But yeah, that's.
Has performed well in blind taste tests, but who are they testing on?
Yeah. So that's the thing,
people who have already had half a dozen beers, and then they're here, try another one.
Maybe it actually tastes pretty good.
Or maybe it tastes like the seventh beer of the night.
Yeah, the seventh beer of the night. So that's the question. Would you theoretically, if the machine wasn't cost prohibitive sort of thing, would you put one on your counter, and then would you print a beer, essentially? Tell the machine, I'm feeling like an IPA tonight, and it goes beep boop, and then 2 to 3 minutes later, boom, you have your beer.
See, we all own a brewery,
I feel like
we're in a position to be like, in a week I'm going to feel like this, and then we just make it. Or we've got a number of things on tap. So we're not the target audience for this.
Absolutely not. No.
I'm not sure there would be a very large target audience because now that I think about it, if you're the kind of person that wants to dial in a recipe, quote unquote, like you're limited to whatever flavors and things that they give you. So like, and you're going to be following probably whatever instructions they give you. So you're kind of like,
I feel like the
it's
audience
like more of like a beer in a box kind of deal, and then
that's
but the kind of
like
people that would be interested in it are the ones who probably want to do more experimentation. So I don't think it would fly. I think it'd be a nice gimmick, like if someone had one.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it'll have a limited audience for people who are into beer kits but don't want to wait 2 weeks.
Probably.
Yeah, someone who maybe
but
in our
aren't
attention-starved current world, maybe this is like the ideal beer for a person.
No, but it's the people who are into beer kits but aren't going to go to that next step towards all grain brewing or any of the other stuff.
But a beer kit is like the gear that you need for that is cheap. You don't need it.
No, but it takes time, right?
But like this was talking about a machine, though, right? So I mean, that machine's going to be probably pricey.
But it's fast. So you're doing that analysis of like, okay, well, I can pay a little bit more to have something a little bit faster, whereas most of the home brewing world accepts the time lag and then spends money to get better beer as opposed to faster beer.
Right.
So I feel like, and again, I think it's going to be a little bit of a niche market, quite a bit of a niche market.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an interesting concept. I don't know where it's going. I'm going to interject.
These beer cartridges, people start talking about it like they're vaping.
Yeah.
You know, like different flavors of pens. Like, I got this
that'll be funny.
guava passion fruit cartridge, and it's great.
Distillate and just I've been huffing it all morning.
We'll see somebody who's vaping a watermelon sour. No, you're not doing it right. Here, have a dark ritual.
Okay, so yeah, like it's an interesting concept, but I personally I wouldn't do it. I would be like, no.
I'd be curious to see it.
I literally don't have the counter space for it.
Wow,
I don't really
I'm
have
starving for
it.
counter space.
That's another issue. Anyway, I don't think. Again, we're not the target. We own a brewery, guys. We're not the target audience for the quick fix on this.
I think it would be kind of neat to see that like a party. Like if you're somewhere, you're like, oh, how does this work? And like beep boop boop beep boop boop beep, and then.
Oh yeah, no, or like at a movie theater where they have those massive pop machines now, where they're like, "Do you want a Coke but with cherry and lime and all this?" I think you can put all these different combinations, and if you could do that with beer, because theaters really are starved for beer selection.
It's funny. I don't go to places that have like a lot of vending machines, and like I actually went to a theater once. I can't remember when. I can't remember what movie it was. But I was like, I felt like an old person because I'm like, I don't know how the machine works. I don't understand this thing.
You got to go through like 4 different menus. You got to touch, this thing, and then you got to press it for a little bit of time. But if you want to mix, then you got to go, I want some of this as well. Go back through the menus and then press it again. So
yeah, it was just weird. I mean, I get why they did it because they can do so many more things, but there was a time when it was so much simpler. It was just like there were 6 buttons and you only had to push one.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, like, my wife got spoiled by, adult movies, like the 18-plus theaters, VIP and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, my God, they're beautiful.
And that's the thing is that we just go and get drinks now.
To buy tickets.
Yeah, easier to buy tickets, and it's just so much easier. And, like, we just go and get beers and then get beers delivered to us in the theater. It's amazing. One time they brought me a pitcher of beer, and I drank it for all of the movie, and it was amazing. Because they thought me and my wife were sharing, and we definitely were not. So it's like, a pitcher of beer for me. I got overserved.
That would be fine, except that halfway through the movie, I get to take a huge leak.
Well,
and then you're trying to watch the movie.
You got to have an iron bladder.
We're getting to the age where that's a serious risk either way. So you might as well get something enjoyable out of it.
Oh, yeah.
What's our next topic? I'm going to interject with our next topic here. I brought a drink out.
Yes.
That came from a recommendation of a good friend of ours, a friend of the show, Rob K., not Rob Kalachuk. The drink is called Barbican. So it is a malt beverage, unfermented.
Unfermented?
Unfermented. So it is a 0.0 alcohol beverage. This particular one is flavored.
It is very carbonated.
And it's quite carbonated. It's interesting. I've had
I
a
can
few.
smell it from here.
Yeah, that you can smell the pineapple on it.
But so this is actually, you guys take your drink and let me know your thoughts, because I have thoughts on it already. I've had a couple of bottles of it, but
That's not for me.
Well, I was going to say, it reminds me of a sugary soda.
so I find it very sweet.
Yeah, like it's not just like regular sugar in it; it's the malt, like the malt sugar.
Yeah, so there's an unfermented wort behind it, and then there's the pineapple flavoring and some sugar with that. It is quite sweet. Now, I have been trying to find an unflavored version of this drink, and it does exist. There is just a pure malt beverage version of Barbican, and I just haven't found it for sale yet. And I'd be very interested to try that, because I think it'd be very, I mean, as I've been pretty vocal about this, I'm trying to find a low alcohol or no alcohol good beer.
Yeah,
And I feel like what they've gone down the road in here
Well, it's not a beer, it's a
an
pop.
interesting path.
Yeah.
This is a pop. But starting with a reasonable malt bill, reasonable unfermented malt bill, maybe there's something we could take there. I don't know. I'm still on my road. I have actually a bag of grain you guys would have walked past on the path downstairs there. By the way, to all our listeners, the thunderstorm scared us and we all retreated to my basement.
You have to protect the electronics, yeah.
yep.
Which I'll be doing a hot mash on to try to get a low alcohol brew out of.
Actually, this is interesting enough. This is actually less calories than a soda.
Yeah.
Yeah, like so.
That's probably because is there added sugar in there, or is it just malt?
So it's carbonated. So list of ingredients: carbonated water, sugar, malt concentrate, and then natural identical pineapple flavor, which makes you sound, "Oh God, what did you do to get that?"
So they still added sugar.
And but
there's
the
some
last
added
ingredient,
sugar.
the last ingredient is hops. There is a trace amount of hops in this thing to maybe
is
help
a-
balance it out.
That
Or
makes
something
sense.
like that.
A token
It's also
analysis to balance
preservative.
And
But yeah,
preservative.
like so this, this is equivalent to a can. Can's 355. This is 330. This is 120 calories, and usually a standard can of pop is, depending on if you get a Coke or ginger ale or anything like that, is between 140 and 160. So this is a slightly less sugary version of a soda.
And
I'd be curious to try the
slightly less-
non-flavored one, yeah.
yeah, that's exactly.
This
I wanna-
reminds me of those kind of like pineapple candies that like a Vietnamese restaurant
Yeah.
gives away.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of. So
Yeah, those tiny candies that have way too much flavor in them. We're like, oh dear God, what did you concentrate into this?
No, I agree with that. I do want to try to find a non-flavored version of it, but since I had it in the fridge, I figured I'd bring it out. And
It's very interesting.
it's interesting.
It's very interesting. And it's actually kind of neat, too, because it's got a whole bunch of Arabic lettering on it all over the place. But
Which
then
is
it's like,
interesting because Barbican started in the UK.
really? Huh. So clearly someone brought this from the flavor of their old country. And
Well, they
this
went to where
reminds
they
me
have the
of,
market share, right? Somewhere where you're dealing with a bunch of dry countries. And
yeah, that's fair enough.
oh man, what is it called? This reminds me of it's a Lebanese beverage. It's similar. It's another malt beverage. It also has hops in it, but they also highly flavor it and very carbonated. It's very sweet. It's also like more of a pop. It's like it starts with an A. It's like Hazies or something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but similar. That's what it reminds me of.
fair enough.
There's a raspberry one that's actually pretty tasty that I like a lot. But
Hard to find, I guess.
the only place I know is that you've heard of Shawarma Barlow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have them there. They got different flavors there too. It's pretty good. It's a good shawarma place too. It's also quite tasty.
Yeah, you don't want to be like the other shawarma place in our city that keeps on getting shut down. But
All right, what's next?
our last topic for this episode, since we like to be hard on hazy IPAs and then pull back on hazy IPAs and then go the other way,
I never had problems with them.
it's
You
me
guys
mostly.
have said hazy IPAs all taste the same.
Yes, I have said that. Steven Sock. 2021, 22, 20,
It's
23.
been on the podcast multiple times.
They are very similar, and it's because of what we're about to talk about right now, which is they all use very similar hops.
Yep. So I have here a list of the 12 most common hops in hazy IPAs. And the question to you guys is going to basically be, can you identify hopefully most of these, but in order, I'll give where they are, but can you identify the 12 hops on this list?
Can I just try and list them right now?
Yep.
There's 12, right?
Yep.
Citra, Mosaic,
Yes.
Galaxy,
Yes.
Sabro,
Yes.
Nelson Sauvin.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
So that's 5.
I'm trying to think now of which other ones are.
There's a few in here that are pretty...
Those are the 5 I can name for sure.
Okay, so you got number 1, number 2, number 3, number 6, and number 9.
Oh, there you go.
Citra is the undisputed king of hazy hops.
Gross.
Mosaic, dank and chock full of mycerine, which is a flavonoid,
So why do we accept the flavor of dank?
because
Like,
hops and
It's funny it says that, but that must be
And
because
hemp and all
some
that.
people taste it, but I never get that out of Mosaic.
exactly, and it's not really. It isn't the flavor I get out of most hazy IPAs. Like dank is just a weird
Mosaic. So it's notes of cannabis, diesel fuel,
Notes
and
of cannabis.
and blueberries.
But that's not what I get out of Mosaic. Mosaic is always kind of a fruity one for me, but
like blueberries.
But I mean, yeah. But I mean, other people taste. I mean, that doesn't surprise me. Like everyone's palate is different. They're going to be more sensitive to different
Mosaic
flavors.
I guess
usually
we're not sommeliers or cicerones.
yeah,
Cicerones,
cicerones.
yeah.
So Mosaic's usually paired with Galaxy, and Galaxy is notes of guava, overripe mango, and peaches.
Overripe mango.
Yeah, or sorry, overripe. Yeah,
I feel like we could do an entire podcast of Steve explaining the flavor profile of certain beers.
and that's all
us
calling bullshit on it.
Us repeating the words in incredulous tones.
Okay, so Robbie took your first stab. You got 5. Brendan, there are 7 left on the board. Can you name any other hops that
Yeah.
are on the hazy list here?
Guys, you really overestimate my prowess as a brewer. I don't know if I could name 7 hops right.
I want to say Cascade, but I know Cascade is not used.
No, Cascade is not on the list.
That's an old one.
Well, Cascade is mostly a bittering hop
It's been superseded by Citra
and Centennial.
and Centennial. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, come on, guys. I use Fuggles, Saz, Galaxy, Citra, which have already been named.
Yes.
I am not in
You need to play around with hops more, bro.
No.
I love playing with hops.
Well, clearly.
I mean, that's how I ended up finding Zamba, and Zamba's definitely not on that list. So.
Clearly, I need to play around with hops more. But I don't. I am a very boring brewer. I am trying to take the recipes that I've already made and find a way to make them taste good without alcohol in them.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
That is the
either.
current path of my investigation. And I leave it to you guys to investigate the new hops and the exciting new stuff for all the great new beers.
This is going
This
to
is
bug me
why I've
because I
never
know
made
when
a
Steve.
sour. This is why I've never successfully made an IPA.
This list bugs me a little bit because I know name 5, but then when Steve is going to list them, I'm going to be like, oh shit.
Yeah,
All right.
you said you were going to get all 9, and I'm like, no, there's 12, and you're like,
All right.
Yeah.
okay. So I will
Go.
take one off the list. It's called Strata. It's
Okay,
fairly
well,
new.
I haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is that one of the most used if it's fairly new?
Well, it's the new kid on the block, so it's a fairly recent strain from I think about. Well, it was before pandemic, so I think it was about 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
I call bullshit on the nomination.
So the thing is, I could start listing the other ones, and Rob's just gonna like hate himself because they're so obvious.
Do it.
Which ones? Okay, so I'll give him one. El Dorado.
El Dorado. Okay, I've heard of it, but
That's
yeah.
not a hop, that's a car.
Well, it's also like Citra, minus the clout. It's got notes of mango, pineapple, and watermelon.
Moving on.
So, see if that jog his memory at all. He's pondering.
Eldorado. Yeah, no, I've heard of it, but I wouldn't have named it as one of the popular ones.
Okay, so there's another one that gets really paired with Galaxy Mosaic on occasion. Starts with an A.
Oh, Azaka.
Nope.
Is Azaka on the list?
Nope.
Oh, really?
But it's another A.
I don't know.
Ambergris.
No.
Man,
Oh, Amarillo.
Amarillo, like Cascade hops on steroids.
Yeah, Amarillo. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get you to try one more on this list, and then I'll list the rest.
Okay.
So we've had Citra, Mosaic, Galaxy, Eldorado, Nelson Sauvon, Sabro, and Strata, Amarillo. There's 3 left on this list.
Baton Rouge.
No, sadly not.
That's not that popular, no.
No.
Yes, I know. Steve keeps making.
I really
disappointed
like
beers
that
with
hop. I really like it, but I haven't made a decent beer with it yet. So there's 3 left. One is pretty obscure, but the other 2 are you. If you looked on the can, and you saw it, you'd be like, okay, yeah, I recognize that.
What are they?
Idaho 7
Okay, yeah.
and Vic Secret.
Ah, Vixie.
Oh, Vixie.
Yeah.
We should have known that one.
Australia's not so secret Fruit Bomb. The other one that you would have got is Cashmere.
That was part of the
yeah,
Iron Brewer package.
Yes, it was. Vic Secret was part of the Iron Brew
yeah.
package.
Is that one of the ones we used? I don't think so, actually.
No.
No, we still have a bag or a thing of it.
Oh, shit. I smell a special brew coming up.
So it's got notes of pine,
You say that after
passion
you
fruit,
just said you
and
never play
overripe
around with
pineapple.
hops.
I was excited about me.
oh, special brew.
Rob, you're going to make it, right? I'm like, shit.
Yeah, come on, guys. Like, step up. We got a whole bag of this shit.
Yeah.
I think it's a half pound, so like that's a
Yeah.
lot.
We can make a lot.
Yeah, those competitions, they give you a pretty generous amount of ingredients.
Actually, we could do a competition within ourselves because, again, admittedly, I don't play around with hops a lot. If we were to do another competition internally, this is a good way to break me out of my comfort zone, is to do a hop-based competition.
Yeah.
Select
We
the
should
hop.
just like redo it out of the stuff left over from Iron Brewer.
Yeah.
That might be interesting.
And that way we all have the same ingredients, but you can make whatever you want.
Well, so the grains and stuff are fairly limited from what we have from Iron Brewer.
We could just get more. Like
Wow.
that's-
So
We can just say like you have to use the hops and whatever other special ingredients they have in
Yeah.
there, and then you can use
So I leave it to the hops and the specials.
BYOG.
Yeah.
Bring your own grain.
Exactly. Exactly. And then you can get some interesting grains out of that because everything that's left in there is stuff that I don't play with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there was all the other. Remember the grains of paradise?
Grains of paradise.
Yeah, grains of paradise.
Oh my god! I remember the guy next to us who used basically every weird thing.
Yeah, he basically it was
he
like the
ended up-
kitchen sink. He threw everything in.
and his beer was fine, but I was like, I don't taste
There
any
was
of that.
there was
Hard to
nothing.
pick it out.
There was nothing distinct.
It was muddled. It was
Yeah.
muddled.
Yeah. But I'm going to say, just to drag us back a little bit here. But yeah, like the top 3 hops, and like, I see these in most of the hazy IPAs. It's like, it's always Citra. Citra is,
Well, yes, and you claim
In
every
everything.
beer that you taste, you say, "Oh, there's Citra in this," and all
Yeah.
this. And usually we're in a position where we can't verify that, so we just kind of trust you. And I'm still not convinced that you get it. I'm maybe 60% of the time.
I just stopped listening to Steve.
no. So basically, when I get Citra, so like it's like Citra primarily is grapefruit, but it's also like oranges and basically tropical. That's what I get, and
You know what? Go through some
It's
Cicero
everywhere.
classes, and then I'll start listening to you.
oh, but I don't care.
Neither do I.
I don't care enough to become a Cicerone because we could. Oh man, would that be an amazing series for us to do? Is basically like us doing the Cicerone
Oh,
course.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, no, we sign up and it's
I
like how
beer.
long we last.
I like beer too much to do it.
But
You know, as soon as they take
It has
me
to
to
be
the
more
first,
if you have to be really interested in like the minute nuances of it because
I'm going to say what'll take me out of the whole thing is the second that I have to go to an off-flavor tasting class. And
I
was
actually
like,
didn't mind those
because
we did one at Prairie Dog.
No, we didn't do one.
I went to Prairie
You
Dog.
went to it at Prairie Dog. They offered it. I was there for the cask beer thing, which actually we're coming up on a year since we did that.
Since we did which?
The cask,
the cask
stuff.
the cask age stuff.
Oh right.
And we bought bottles.
I think someone drank mine. I can't find it.
Somebody drank ours.
I think so. Yeah.
No, I have it. I have a bottle that hasn't been opened.
No, we each had a bottle.
So
I don't know where mine went.
So we bought you.
I think someone
we bought you
drank
a
it.
bottle of the good stuff.
yeah, and that's been sitting
And you were
in.
gonna age it, and then
Yeah.
we each bought a bottle of the less good stuff.
Yeah, it was the Midnight
let-
Combine.
to let
Yeah,
it age
I
it.
remember because that was gonna be like my get out of hospital cancer beer, and
Okay,
it was
well,
gone.
I still have my bottle,
Yeah.
so we'll share it.
Okay. Because I think we bought the same year too.
We bought the
didn't
same year. Yeah, we bought the same bottle. So it's still over there, but like we're coming up on a year.
I can contribute Steve. They made another one called Steve, which was that what is it? that's it's an acronym, right? But it was
Yeah,
for
but
the
we will consume Steve.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's an imperial stout. It's like 10% imperial stout. Yeah.
As penance for not delivering the watermelon sour that he has promised us for these 3 years.
Oh my God,
he
yeah.
shall be
We will
consumed.
consume Steve.
Actually, I was pureeing watermelons the other day. So
Oh, good.
In preparation for delivering the beers that
Yes.
you owe us for so long.
yeah, because watermelons were cheap at my local Sobe, so I actually
Oh,
picked
They're
up.
always cheap. What are you talking about?
No. It would
They've
because
been cheap several times over the last 2 years. I'm just throwing that out there.
yeah, no, but I was because I used the last for our brews there. But no, I was at the grocery store the other day and they just had a big display and it's like watermelons like $4. I was like, all right, let's grab a few. Let's do.
Let's make it happen.
Let's do it.
I'm just happy to finally get some. That's
Yep.
all I really care about.
I will be brewing probably later this week. I think I'll be getting that
Excellent.
ready.
After making a batch of the Kiss.
Yes,
Or
Kiss,
sorry, Bare Bones.
bare bones first.
Bare Bones Smash Ale.
By the way, it's
Smash
Kiss.
Amber.
We're just
Amber
renaming
Smash.
it. We're renaming it Bare Bones.
Yeah,
Amber Smash.
Amber Smash.
Bare Bones Amber Smash. Yeah.
But yeah, what I was going to say though is like the top 3 hops, like you see them all over the place. So Citra, Mosaic, and Galaxy.
They're used a lot. And none of my recipes use those 3 hops.
Well, and like again,
'Cause
there's
I am an old fart.
I've used Citra. I like Citra.
like
It's a nice hop.
I used to like Citra. I don't like Citra anymore because it's everywhere, sort of thing. There are over 250 official varieties of hops, like actually like production. Like this is not experimental 3549. This
There's
is
tons, yeah.
like there's so many, and we get pigeonholed into these, these very classic ones. Like you go to your local supply shop and there's only.
No, you feel like those are the classic ones. I'm an adherent to the classic ones. I'm the old Fuggles,
Well, there's-
Kent Goldings,
And that's the thing is that
Saz. I'm all the old world.
it's
hops,
old
man.
world, again. Like unless going to Europe
You
yourself and
start
actually
going
drinking
across the
those.
glass. There's like a hop for every letter of the alphabet.
Oh, I know they have
That's
it done.
insane.
I'm just saying, what I buy there is Fuggles,
Even for Zen
Goldings.
folks, there's one called Zeus.
and Zamba, which is the basis
And
of our
Zamba.
fantastic beer, the Friends Night Out, which everybody should go out and buy.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I like when I'm making my beers, Kent Goldings,
Mm-hmm.
Fuggles, Sauce,
And Willamette.
and Willamette. I'm determined to make my beers as much in the European style as possible.
Yeah.
Until I go to the fall and I make my hashtag PSA, and then, I mean, the hops are the same, but I throw
Everything out the
every
window.
other rule out the window.
But I think that's pretty much a good episode right there. So
I feel like we've covered. We didn't quite get to 100 topics, but I feel like
Oh my
everybody would
gosh.
tune out. If we went towards that, so.
Well, happy 100 episodes.
indeed, cheers, boys.
Thanks for
guys.
listening.
Also, this beer, you're totally right, Brendan.
Not great.
Not great. And you're right. It is that ethanol rate on the mid to the
it's-
back.
It's higher alcohol than it needs to be. If they had eased off on the grain bill a little bit, they'd do better.
Yeah. If it had, I was going to say the attenuation on it's too high. If it had more residual sugars in it,
No,
I think it would be a little bit smoother on the back end.
I disagree with that a little bit. I don't think it needs to be sweeter. I think it just needs less sugar to start with. I think the attenuation's fine. It's just a high malt bill.
Well,
Yeah.
either way, there's a couple ways to deal with it, but yeah.
But-
Yeah, because it's supposed to be a smooth balance of soft biscuit and caramel flavors with a
So
subtle
if anyone
roast
from
finish.
Common Crown is listening, that's my opinion on your beer.
Yep.
And if you want to tell me how wrong I am or how right I am, how could they reach me, Steve?
Well, they could go to our website, solutionsbrewing.com, where there is a lovely form that pops up, and you can go to our tab or send us a note directly at noproblems@solutionsbrewing.com. Or if they wanted to tag you in a picture and say Brendan's a smelly fart, they could do that at Solutions Brewing Co. on our Facebook or Instagram.
If you do it on social media, send a picture so I can post it too.
Yeah.
There we go. That's lovely. Happy 100 episodes. Can't believe we've been doing this for 100 episodes, guys. It's been a lot of fun.
Again, over 2 years. It's wow.
Yeah, it's great.
Wow. We'll see you all next week.
Yeah, we'll see you guys.
Take care, folks.